Introduction to Don't Trust Anyone, the horrifying secret beneath Phong Nậm Valley. Dive into a gripping Vietnamese horror story that will captivate American audiences. Nguyen Than Acheong ventures into Phong Nậm Valley to find her husband, GC Phec, missing for 4 years after a cryptic call. She uncovers a dark world of ghost boats, human trafficking, and a chilling secret, a lab holding bodies where her husband is trapped in formalin. A twisted twin's secret and a brutal organ trafficking ring unravel, pulling her into a vortex of betrayal and terror. Subscribe to our YouTube channel to uncover the horrifying truth. Dear listeners, please lend your ears to the chilling tale. The laboratory was lined with jars containing preserved bodies, and at its center stood a large transparent tank filled with yellow formalin. Nguyen Than Acheong could never have imagined that her husband, GC Phec, who had been missing for 4 years, was inside it. He looked like an inflatable doll, his body swollen, eyes slightly open, as if diving underwater, limbs faintly spread apart. In 2019, Cao Binh, Vietnam. Young lady, you've bought the ticket. Are you still heading to Phong Nậm Valley? Than Acheong was snapped back to reality by the middle-aged ticket seller and hurriedly nodded. The road to the tourist area was rough, making her dizzy. Her mind replayed many images, but the clearest was the eerie phone call from a few days earlier. That call was the reason for her trip. Acheong, I want... Than Acheong couldn't hear clearly, but she knew it was her husband's voice. GC Phec. The other end was noisy, and the call quickly disconnected. She had once thought GC Phec might have been murdered, but as the saying goes, if alive, you see the person. If dead, you see the body. 4 years had passed without a single clue. Than Acheong had nearly given up hope, but then she heard GC Phec's voice again. A shiver ran through her, reigniting her heart. The call couldn't be reconnected, but Than Acheong traced the number and found it originated from Cao Binh, 45 kilometers from where GC Phec disappeared. With help from colleagues, she learned the phone was activated at a Viettel station in the Phong Nậm Valley tourist area. Than Acheong traveled there alone. To avoid suspicion, she didn't ask directly about the number at the station. Instead, she pretended to want a new SIM card. The girl at the counter was enthusiastic, mentioning that the phone number could be bundled with a discounted ticket to Phong Nậm Valley. Later, Than Acheong boarded a bumpy bus. Besides her, there were 4 other passengers, a couple and 2 backpackers. After awkward introductions, she learned their basic information. The couple was from Hanoi Hong Min and his girlfriend, Le Hen Nung, on their final stop of a graduation trip. The backpackers Pham Vinh Tun and Tern Thao Mai were also from Hanoi. Than Acheong, feeling motion sickness, clutched her chest to stay calm. The bus stopped and the driver shouted, "We're here! Get off. A boat will pick you up." Than Acheong slowly disembarked, her stomach churning, leaning against the railing to dry heave. Out of the corner of her eye, she saw the bus driver and a boatman whispering below the slope, their eyes wary of nearby tourists. She quietly moved closer, catching only fragments. Price, Mrs. CM isn't easy to deal with from the big city. Phong Nậm Valley, true to its name, was a long gorge flanked by steep cliffs of red soil. Water occasionally trickled from crevices, forming small waterfalls. The deeper they went, the thicker the fog became. Than Acheong sat at the back of the simple boat, watching it slowly glide into the heart of the gorge. Not far off, other boats moved slowly, laughter echoing from ahead. Her suspicions grew. Logically, there shouldn't be such thick fog this season. Even Han Nung found it strange. She tapped the boatman's shoulder. "Sir, is this the right route? I remember the promotional photos showed a wide open river. Why is it getting narrower?" The boatman glared at her fiercely, saying nothing, and continued rowing. The passengers exchanged uneasy glances. The river entered a dark cave, visibility obstructed. Voices of argument rose from the boats ahead. Pham Vinh Tun stood and asked, "Sir, this route?" This time the boatman spoke. "We're almost there." "Almost where?" Fan H-young frowned, instinctively touching the dagger hidden in her boot, slipping it into her sun-protective sleeve. The route wasn't as advertised, the fog was unnatural and the river twisted excessively. Fan H-young silently counted over 20 turns. If she didn't sense something was wrong by now, even Han Nung wouldn't believe it. She coldly watched the passengers argue with the boatman, demanding to turn back. The boat rocked like a wobbling toy. Something was off, but it was exactly what she wanted. This trip to Phong Nậm had led her to the right place. It felt like an entirely new world. Beyond the foggy area was a rushing river. On both banks stood wooden tastile houses built along the mountainside, but strangely, Fan H-young saw no one emerge. Except at the river's mouth, where a line of burly men with guns stood guard, and in the center was an old woman surrounded by a crowd. She held a sleek black cat, silently observing the prey brought by the boatman. "Spare me." A tourist was thrown into the raging river. Fan H-young watched her struggle, sinking and resurfacing, until her screams vanished at the waterfall's end, along with her life. "Move it." Fan H-young was shoved, following the group ahead. As she suspected, they weren't here for a normal tour and return. Per her plan, they had encountered the legendary ghost boats of the region. Fan H-young knew of the ghost boats from GC Fek's work journal. Before coming to Caobin, he had researched local customs, hoping to take a half-day to explore this small district. He had told her about it. The ghost boat legend began after liberation, when Caobin was underdeveloped, and scientific thought hadn't fully reached this mountainous town. Some who took boats into Phong Nậm Valley vanished mysteriously, leaving only empty vessels drifting on the river. Every 4 years, on no specific date, people disappeared. Elders said wartime spirits came to take souls for reincarnation. After economic reforms, the government developed the area, debunking ghost stories. Many young people no longer knew the legend. GC Fek had stumbled upon it on a forum and shared it with Fan H-young. Ghost boats, abductions 4 years ago. This year marked exactly 4 years since GC Fek and others disappeared. An atheist, Fan H-young recalled the brief exchange between the driver and boatman, piecing things together. No ghosts existed. The people before her were the ghosts of local legend. Ghosts that used guns? They weren't entirely cut off from the outside world. The driver and boatman collaborated with this place, delivering tourists like livestock, taking payment and leaving. A trafficking chain, though its purpose was unclear. The Mrs. they mentioned was likely the old woman in the center, seemingly the leader. Fan H-young hadn't expected them to be bold enough to bring tourists directly for experimentation.
Thinking of GC Fek's hurried, interrupted call.
Her eyes darkened, lips pursed tightly. Her instincts told her her husband was still alive. No matter what, she had to uncover the truth. Half an hour earlier, Han Nung and Phong Nậm were also thrown into the river. Han Nung panicked, refused to board a boat, and was grabbed and tossed by the men acting like guards. She could swim, didn't sink immediately, and screamed for Hong Min to save her. "But turn thou my," whispered to Hong Min. "Do you want to die with her?" Hong Min froze, face pale, hands clenched, lips trembling. He said nothing, watching the girl he once loved be swept away by the current. As for Phong Nậm, Fan H-young heard a man say, "Too skinny, useless even if kept, can't be fattened up." Women to the right, men to the left. Someone ordered the tourists to line up. "Strip all clothes, search them." Fan H-young stood in line. Some young women refused to remove their underwear, clutching their chests, crying and begging. The men were rough, slapping them, yanking their arms, tearing off remaining clothes, groping their breasts before letting go. This wasn't the time to play hero. Fan H-young obediently stripped, even handing over the dagger in her sleeve to the man about to inspect her. He reached to touch her, but she coldly stopped him. "I've stripped everything. Don't touch me." The man cursed but didn't press further, tossing her a loose patient gown like pajamas. "Put it on." Fan Acheong caught it, smelling blood, sweat, and a faint stench. She didn't know if the previous wearer was alive. Suppressing the odor, she began dressing. Suddenly, a noise came from a nearby wooden house. Fan Acheong looked up to see a door burst open, accompanied by a woman's anguished scream. "I don't want this child. Take it away." "I don't want it. It's a bastard. I won't nurse it." The gaunt woman, also in a patient gown, seemed to use all her strength to flee. Behind her was a man holding a baby, silently pursuing without calling out. The woman wailed, "What more do you want from me? Give me a quick death. I've given you 2 children, why won't you let me go? I want to go home, I want to go home." Mrs. CM spoke. "Enough, she's fulfilled her duty. Take her away." Fan Acheong finished dressing and saw the woman running closer toward the river. The gorgeous wind was strong, blowing her brittle hair, revealing a skeletal face. "Sister, back at school I heard about your love story with the teacher. A golden couple. Sister, let me grab food for you. The teacher's still working late at the forensics lab, told me and Min Fong to eat first." "Sister, actually I really like Min Fong. But he seems a bit clueless." Fan Hun's lips trembled. She moved them slightly, wanting to call that name. It was Lin Chi. Her trip wasn't just to find her husband, but also 2 young forensic colleagues who went with him to Kaohsiung, Lin Chi and Ji Min Fong. In 2015, GC Fek led his 2 students to assist Kaohsiung police in a major organ trafficking case, then vanished. The only clue was their work phones and part of Ji Min Fong's body found at a highway exit 2 days later. Otherwise, the 3 evaporated from the world. But the moment her eyes met Lin Kai's, a gunshot rang out. Fan Acheong snapped alert.
No.
The man holding the baby rushed forward, screaming, "Why did you kill her? I could have taken her back." Smoke rose from Lin Kai's forehead. She stopped breathing, eyes bulging, mouth agape, collapsing limply at Than Hen's feet. Those eyes, still wide open, stared eerily at Than Hen's face. Fan Acheong followed the man to a distant wooden house. Surprisingly, it wasn't dirty. The bedsheets, though yellowed, were freshly washed, with clear creases. The man tossed her a shirt numbered 108, like a foreign prison uniform. Fan Acheong finally spoke. "When can I leave?" Others in the room looked up at her question. Fan Acheong felt their gazes and looked back. The man sneered, not answering directly. "Don't talk. Sit quietly. Act up and you'll be shot." Fan Acheong didn't expect answers from him. She shrugged and squatted in a corner. The man gave her a cryptic glance and left. The room fell silent. After some time, an old man's voice broke the quiet. "Once you're here, you think you can leave? You're lucky to leave with an intact body." Strangely, no one reacted to his words, as if they'd accepted their doomed fate. "This is a human trafficking hub. Organ trade, right? The numbers on the shirts are the order of death, aren't they?" Fan Acheong pressed, her voice full of doubt. The others looked up again. A man in his 40s glanced at her, his tone uncertain but mocking. "Undercover cop?" Fan Acheong stayed calm, waiting for him to continue. "He did. What's the point of being an undercover cop? Don't you die here too? Come, I'll show you." The man stood. Fan Acheong saw his shirt number was 91 before hers. The wooden house wasn't fully sealed. It even had windows, but they were covered with electrified netting. Escape? You'd be charred. Following his direction, she saw a repurposed square with racks displaying human skeletons, swaying lightly in the breeze. Fan Acheong flinched but maintained composure. The man continued, "No wall is airtight. I bet the police know something about this place, but the terrain's too unique, equipment loses signal nearby. Occasionally, undercover cops slip in, only to be dragged out. They're hung in the square as a warning." Fan Acheong asked, "How do you know so much?" A young boy, the smallest in the room, spoke, "Because we have to study." "Study?" Fan Acheong hadn't expected that answer. The boy looked up. "Every month we study." We even know when we'll go under the knife. Than Hun's scalp tingled. What the hell was this place? A bone-chilling cold swept through her. In her room, including her, there were only 4 people. The man Hong Jin-dong arrived 2 months before Than Yiqiang, hence his number was close to hers. Tall and muscular, though thinner after 2 months, he was clearly athletic before. Per Hong Vong Gong, even a master couldn't fight 100 men. A fitness trainer, he'd signed up for a tour during his annual leave, only to end up awaiting death. A tour? Than Yiqiang asked. Where are the others? Hong Van Dong replied. I brought this on myself. That day there were 2 routes, one to Heiyang, one to Fong and Chi. I don't care for paintings, so I chose Fong and Chiem. There was a family, but their kid got a high fever before the trip, so they didn't board. Than Yiqiang felt a pang of sympathy but sensed something off, though she couldn't pinpoint it. She asked about the old man and boy. They were grandfather and grandson tricked here 4 years ago. 4 years ago, Than Hen's heart tightened. The old man said, I brought the kid to work, but that damn boss tricked us here. He added that each batch of people was different. Than Yiqiang and Hong Jin-dong were in the same batch, wearing orange prison shirts, while he and his grandson wore green, numbered 52 and 53. 4 years ago? Yeah, 4 years ago. The boy was only 9, now he's grown like this. The old man sighed, ruffling his grandson's hair. The boy smiled. Than Hun's eyelids twitched, realizing something was wrong. You all seem in good spirits, Hong Van Dong said. You have to be, even if you're not. There's a chance to survive here, you know? His eyes lit up as he spoke. The old man added that those assigned to this area lived longer than others. Who wouldn't want to live longer? Healthy people were sent here. The elderly did labor. Young and middle-aged men had organs harvested but were kept alive. Children were raised for sperm to create new people in a cycle. Women, mostly, were breeding machines used by many, regardless of the child's father, until they were useless and their organs taken. Than Yiqiang wanted to ask more, but the door burst open. 2 burly men dragged her out. She considered resisting but recalled the old man's words, "Don't resist here, or you'll die." She let them drag her. They passed a vine-covered path, a gentle slope. After 15 minutes, a row of buildings appeared, surrounded by tall pines. Than Yiqiang swallowed, her scalp tingling. She thought of concentration camps, brothels. Such monstrosities existed deep in the mountains. If, as the old man said, women were used for breeding, she swore to fight any man to the death, castrating him before she died. But reality differed. The place was surprisingly tidy, equipped like a small hospital. The man handed her to a nurse. The nurse, masked and unfriendly, curtly told her to follow. Than Yiqiang asked, "Why am I here?" The nurse replied stiffly, "Gynecological exam." "For what?" "If you're disease-free, you'll start preparing for pregnancy." "Pregnancy, my ass," Than Yiqiang thought. In the simple changing room, she saw Turn Thou Mai undressing before a mirror, catching Than Hun's reflection. Turn Thou Mai ignored her, calmly removing her underwear and entering the exam room. But soon, Turn Thou Mai's scream echoed. "How could I have an STD? You checked wrong. The readings are clear. Take her away," a calm male voice replied, chuckling softly. Than Hun's heart skipped. She could never forget that voice. It was the voice that, after 4 years of absence, called her late one night, cut off abruptly, leading her here.
Next.
Than Yiqiang, pale, watched Turn Thou Mai being carried out, limp.
She staggered as the nurse pushed her. Than Yiqiang was shoved inside. The surgical light was blinding, but she clearly saw the man opposite through the glare. White lab coat, rimless glasses, examining a specimen under a microscope. Everything was familiar. "Lie down," he said. Than Yiqiang didn't move. The man set the specimen down, saying to the nurse outside, "Lin, you can go. I'll handle this one." The door closed immediately. 2 men escorting Then Acheong passed the surgical room's window, laughing. Haven't seen GC Fek keep a woman in a while. We won't disturb. GC Fek said, take your time leaving. The surgical room fell silent. After a while, GC Fek stood, arms open to the naked Than Acheong, smiling brightly. Hey, Eong, aren't you happy to see me? No hug? Everyone knew GC Fek had a new lover. She was the woman newly brought in. GC Fek took her everywhere, even letting her sit in on his classes here. Clearly, he was smitten. Since that day, Than Acheong was like a soulless shell, not speaking to GC Fek. He didn't touch her, only told her to dress. Everything was dictated by GC Fek. Here he held significant power, second only to Mrs. CM. Her husband, a butcher stained with countless lives' blood. Was everything they had a lie? Than Acheong despaired. Class began. Than Acheong listened numbly. GC Fek didn't teach so much as brainwash. Convincing these lab rats they could survive, even return home, if they completed their tasks. For example, women had to bear a certain number of children, men had to impregnate a certain number of women. Then Acheong saw the grandfather and grandson Tong and Hong Von Dung in the front row, looking at her obsequiously. Tong even waved happily. They looked like dogs wagging their tails. Than Acheong wanted to sneer, but her lips cracked as she moved. She looked away. During a break before she could respond, Tong ran over to chat. His prison uniform made him look even thinner. Than Acheong glanced at GC Fek, who had left his seat to talk to Mrs. CM at the door. Mrs. CM noticed her, smiling eerily. Than Acheong felt uneasy and looked away. Sister, you're so lucky to follow Dr. GC Fek, Tong said. Envy, undisguised. Lucky how? Tong nodded. Of course. Following him, you usually don't die. You even get to go outside. Before, number 12 was favored by Dr. GC Fek, now he's Mrs. C. Keatne's close aide. Than Acheong looked again, seeing a fair-skinned, red-lipped teenager behind Mrs. CM. Looking longer, her heart jolted, sensing something amiss. Tang's words pulled her back. She calmed herself, asking, Doctor, GC Fek, when did he come here? Tong shook his head. Don't know. He was here when I arrived. But that year, someone identical to Dr. GC Fek was brought ashore at the same time. Tong, stop talking nonsense. His grandfather appeared, panicked, covering the boy's mouth, apologizing repeatedly. Sorry, kids say silly things. Late at night, the moon shone, stars sparse. Than Acheong was taken to bathe, then brought back. Near GC Fek's quarters, the nurse stopped her. Wait before going in. From the window came heavy breathing and moans two men's voices. Than Acheong suddenly felt calm, a strange joy rising within. The man inside wasn't her husband, GC Fek. She knew the real GC Fek wasn't like that. So she waited quietly. Her mind flashed with images. This GC Fek faced her naked, unmoved. The two men teased, haven't seen Dr. GC Fek keep a woman in a while because GC Fek wasn't into women. And the red-lipped teenager that afternoon, his gaze toward GC Fek was that of a lover. After a long wait, the door opened. The teenager stumbled out, face still flushed. Seeing Than Acheong, his eyes gleamed with arrogance. Than Acheong ignored him, striding into GC Fek's room, slamming the door. The man frowned, turning. Seeing Than Acheong, his expression softened. Acheong, what's up? Than Acheong replied coldly, don't mimic GC Fek calling me.
It's disgusting.
The man raised an eyebrow, his smile fading, hand rubbing his neck. Smart, huh? Figured out I'm not him in just a few days. Where's GC Fek? Than Acheong suppressed her rage, teeth nearly clashing. The man said lightly, oh, him.
Dead.
Than Acheong grabbed a fruit knife from the table, lunging to stab him. She was swift, dodging, cutting his arm, drawing blood. The man clicked his tongue, frowning. Not obedient, huh? Don't rush to die. Hear my story first. Winter 1987, Hanoi train station. The station bustled with vendors selling snacks, hurried travelers rarely stopping. Among them was a young couple with 2 children, visiting Hanoi for a vacation. They were adorable twin boys. The father held the lively older brother, the mother the quiet younger one. The older boy said, "Dad, I want cotton candy." The father agreed to buy, asking the younger, Younggun some. The younger nodded, yes. The vendor, chatty, praised the children's cuteness. Leaving the station, the father hired a car to their resort. The mother sat in the front, discussing the itinerary with the father. The twins sat in the back. The older brother ate quickly, still hungry, and tried to snatch his brother's cotton candy. The younger dodged, "Brother." The mother turned, scolding, "GC Feck, don't bully your brother." The older brother stopped. Seeing his brother upset, the younger hesitated, then offered his half-melted cotton candy. The older brother didn't take it, huffing and turning away. The twins didn't speak further. At the destination, the younger tried to make peace. "Don't be mad, brother. Next time you can have mine. I won't eat." The older brother, still upset, pushed him when their parents weren't looking. "Get lost. Follow me again, and I'll tell Mom you were peeking at boys in the bathroom." The younger didn't dare move, watching his brother walk off, head lowered in shame, hands clenching and releasing. The younger adored his brother, always giving him the best, relying on him. The older was kind but sharp-tongued. After catching his brother peeking at boys, the younger wasn't ashamed but shy. He told his brother he didn't like playing with girls, preferring building blocks with boys. No one noticed anything odd between them. The first day passed peacefully. On the second, they went to a hot spring. There, the twins argued again. The younger broke the older's water cup. The mother mediated, promising a new one. As the older brother was coaxed inside by their mother, the younger wanted to buy a toy to apologize. He took a small money pouch from his backpack and went to a nearby shop. Then the tragedy struck. An old woman called to him. "Kid, buying something?" He said yes. "Lend me a few coins for food?" he agreed. Dazed, he answered her questions. "What's your name?" "I'm Jissi Dung." "Come with Mrs. C."
He didn't want to. His brother was waiting.
But the old woman was unnaturally strong. He snapped alert, trying to break free, but she covered his mouth and carried him off. The older brother, eating snacks by the window, saw his twin being taken, despite their parents being nearby. "Then what?" Fan H-young asked. Jissi Dung smirked. "Then, life was fine. Growing up, Mrs. Siam told GC Feck to study medicine, so I did too." "Oh, he never mentioned having a twin brother, did he?" Fan H-young was silent. When they married, her in-laws were long deceased, with no photos or traces of a second son. Everything seemed hidden by GC Feck. GC Dung didn't release Fan H-young, but took the knife from her, tossing it down. "When GC Feck saw me, he was scared to death, you know? When he was brought ashore, his expression, still amusing to recall." GC Dung's eyes gleamed. "I'll take you to meet an old friend." The back door of GC Dung's house led to the square, where skeletons swayed in the summer breeze. Fan H-young had a bad feeling. GC Dung pushed her forward, lightly holding her neck, forcing her to look up. A skeleton's leg bones brushed her face. "See clearly? That's Ji-min Fong. I chopped off his right hand myself, one clean cut. Come, the main event's here." In the center of GC Dung's lab was a large transparent tank of yellow formalin. GC Feck was inside. Like an inflatable doll, his body swollen, eyes slightly open, as if diving underwater, limbs spread. Bastard. No matter how calm Fan H-young was earlier, she couldn't bear it now. The husband she longed for over 4 years, her lifelong partner, couldn't end like this. Nor could GC Dung judge him. In the lab, GC Dung didn't restrain her. By the operating table were various scalpels. Fan H-young, eyes red, grabbed a handful and threw them at GC Dung. He dodged, and she used all her police academy combat training, but he anticipated her moves, blocking her punches and kicks. A strong slash missed. GC Dung grabbed her wrist, twisting it, pinning her to the operating table, immobile. Wake up. What else do you want to know? I'll tell you. He glanced at the row of specimen jars behind the tank, sneering. Almost forgot. Remember Lin Chi? The woman who died in front of you. Your superior. GC Dung leaned close to Than Hen ear, his voice demonic. Her first child, second row, first jar. Guess who the father is? Than Hen face, paled, lips trembling, speechless. Her face was distorted against the table. GC Dung laughed. It's my dear brother. To protect his precious student from violation, he did it himself. You're lying. Than Young bit her lip until it bled. GC Dung shrugged. Believe what you want. That call, you lured me here. GC Dung put on rubber gloves, tied Than Hen hands to the lampstand, and leisurely poured a glass of red wine, downing half.
He raised the glass, wine sliding down his throat, unsatisfied.
I'm not that bored. Honestly, I didn't plan to touch you. Your good husband couldn't resist, insisted on calling you. He was foolish, escaping but not running farther to contact you, using our contact points number. Wasn't that just waiting for me to catch him? Than Young gave a bitter smile. She knew GC Fek too well. He never acted without certainty. He risked calling her from such a close location for a reason. He must have known his situation. Maybe he wanted you to catch him. GC Dung's smile faded. What's that mean? He wanted to atone. Atonement, how you people talk so lightly. GC Dung climbed over the table's rack, picking up scalpels, showing them to Than Young. This one. I used to cut open Ling Kai's belly. Both fetuses were boys, but the first was premature, died at birth. Oh, and this one, you wouldn't guess I stabbed it into my brother's heart. He died quickly, the last courtesy I gave him. Thud. A scalpel plunged into Than Hen's abdomen. She groaned, collapsing. GC Dung held her head like soothing a child, stroking her nape. Quick, it'll be over soon. The knife went in and out. After countless stabs, Than Young stopped moving. GC Dung casually tossed her aside, the knife clattering to the floor. Her gray gown was soaked in dark red blood, reeking of iron. Nian, come in. The teenager waiting outside entered. His eyes, no longer infatuated, were clear. Seeing the lapse scene, he was accustomed. Take her to the incinerator. Nian obeyed. Everything fell silent again. GC Dung stripped off his gown, bare-chested, standing before the tank holding GC Fek, looking up. Gazing obsessively. Like staring at a beloved he'd adored for years. Back then, I wasn't looking at other boys. I was looking at you. Afraid you'd notice. I lied. Now, you're finally truly with me. Announcement on the sacrifice of comrades Nguyen Than Gesi Fek and others from Hanoi City Police. On July 17, 2019, Hanoi City Police received reliable information regarding progress in the disappearance case of comrades GC Fek, Jimin Fong and Lin Chi. Comrade Nguyen Than Young was dispatched to investigate. Based on signals from a tracking device in Comrade Nguyen Than Handadi, Hanoi City Police, in coordination with Cao Police, traced and dismantled the largest organ trafficking ring's stronghold, located 50 kilometers from Phong Nậm Valley tourist area, Cao Bening. They arrested 52 suspects, rescued 1,820 hostages, and recovered the bodies of comrades Nguyen Than Young, GC Fek, and Jimin Fong at the stronghold, along with comrade Lin Kai's body downstream of Phong Nậm Valley. All suspects are currently detained, and the case is under further investigation. Thank you, dear listeners, for tuning in. Please subscribe to the channel to not miss the next thrilling stories.